One of the great things about getting all of the content delivery done before class time actually starts is the opportunity to focus on problem-solving techniques and teaching the students or coaching the students on how to have better problem-solving techniques. After all, one of the things that we think about in college teaching is the idea of developing critical thinking or problem-solving skills, and if we have a chance to mentor that process, well, that's so much the better. One of the things you would notice in a classroom that I'm teaching in is that I'm seldom at the front of it. Here I am off to the side, way at the far right, as are most of my TAs. I've posed a puzzle problem for this class, and that's how most of the class is structured. In a typical day, I would come in, frame the purpose of today's class and the types of things that I wanted to clarify or rectify from the night's quest-based learning tutorials, and then try to say that I'm going to go through a set of puzzle problems that I think are going to tease out or help elucidate some of those key concepts. So I would try to phrase each puzzle problem in that context and try to give a reason for why we're going to work on it, and then just put it up on the screen. I'd have it sitting up there all the time, and then the students would get to work. Students would naturally group themselves in small groups of 2 or 3 or maybe 4, and they might get up and walk around or talk to their neighbors on the other side of them or turn around behind in the next row behind. But they would naturally form in small groups. What I typically find is that actually students start to sit in the same place in class every day because they get to know the working styles of some of the students around them, and they become appreciative of that. Or if they don't like those people, then they tend to move in some place where they do find a better home. And so now the students have actually gotten to know each other to a degree that's much more solid than in a typical lecture class where it's mostly an interaction between me and the students. So here might be a puzzle problem. It would have a diagram and a statement of what is going on in the problem, and then a series of questions. Now in a homework problem, I wouldn't give that series of questions. I would just say, go derive something, or tell me how you know that such and such is true. And I wouldn't give much instruction because the whole point of a homework problem is for students to independently struggle and know how to pull together lots and lots of information and ideas on how to solve a problem. But because this is the student's first attempt at solving a problem, I would set this problem up with multiple parts at a level of specificity. First do this step, then do that step, that would guide them through the process a little bit more. Different instructors would take different approaches with this, and there might be some key gotcha moments or some key realizations that would come for each step. But the hope is to break this problem down so that they are getting their first taste of problem solving in this particular arena. At the end of a few minutes, I would try to come back to the front of the classroom, and if I was sure that the students had made pretty significant progress, I would start to ask for students' ideas or groups of students' ideas on how to solve parts of the problem. In this process, I would try not to act as arbiter. I would merely be scribe and pull together various groups' input and write things down. Here might be something representative of what I've written down. So I take things in steps, and the set of steps up here might be from one student who told me the answer of the problem. But then when the students couldn't think about it graphically, I would go to another student group and they would give me some idea how to sketch this scenario, and then some other student group, when I started writing things down in red here, pointed out something very important about that diagram, and then a third student group pointed out that this piece of part of the diagram too, and I wrote in green something separate. So I try to get lots of different groups' ideas and get their comments about what it was that we had just solved. If I needed to, and I needed to make sure that there was a consistent narrative that everyone understood, then I would kind of go through and lay out the steps in somewhat more logical order and take some questions from the students who weren't yet quite solid on how it was that we went through the solution to that problem. The whole idea, though, is to encourage independent thinkers, students who have no qualms whatsoever about going and tackling problems because they saw that they could do it in class, they were completely unafraid to ask questions, and now they're emboldened to tackle new problems in the future.